to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here. Now, if you feel anxious when presenting or in situations where you feel like you might be judged, this session might be the one for you. Now, I was working with a client that was very successful in business. They created a business in the early days of COVID and it thrived and it flourished. And now they were leading a fast-growing company. But with that came a bit of imposter syndrome, a feeling that they had to be perfect, a feeling that they could be judged in certain situations, and they didn't want to feel that way. So what this session does is it creates a hypnosis session to feel what it would feel like to really tap into a feeling of playfulness and relaxation and inspiration rather than pressure and judgment. And it uses regression to find memories where they felt that way. It uses future pacing from a disassociated perspective, so they get to see themselves doing well. And it also uses a celebrity role model. They had a particular person in mind that they felt that that person embodied the ability to confidently and calmly present their thoughts in a way where they didn't really feel the pressure. They didn't have to be perfect. They didn't have to have all the words. So it uses that element to harness their resources as a blueprint. And a lot of people will use the act as if frame, and that's okay, but it's much better to find a role model that is already doing it the way that you want. And that role model could be you in a different context. It could be you in a different time, or it could be someone that you already perceive has the resources that would be useful for you. Now, if you feel anxious around presenting, that's quite natural. But equally, what's also natural is that it can feel fun and inspiring to kind of share what you want. And the key to this is that being authentic is a superpower. And you've had this, I guarantee it. You've seen infomercials or commercials where someone's trying to present or sell something to you, and they're a bit too slick and it looks very disingenuous. But equally, you might have a friend or a family member that has just openly talked about something from a really genuine place, and that feels way more influential to you than this slick presentation. So authenticity and connection is more important than perfection. And these are the kind of belief systems that we actually put in this session. And I think sometimes if you put yourself on a pedestal where you have to meet a high standard, or you're going to be judged harshly, and most of the judgment is coming from yourself, paradoxically, that creates the pressure to increase the probability of mistakes, which then leads to more criticism, which can then lead to more anxiety. And how you break that pattern is that you give yourself permission to just be yourself, to present what you want to say in the way that you want to say it. And in doing so, that high stakes environment becomes a low stakes environment. And when it's a low stakes environment, you increase the probability that you come across in a calm, confident way. It's called the law of reverse effect, that sometimes in certain areas, the more you try and make it better, the more stressful, pressured and anxious you feel, and the worse you get. And sometimes it's actually a really good idea to do less preparation, less judgment, less expectations, and just go with the flow. And generally when you do that, you tend to be better than when you're kind of putting a gun to your head and saying it has to be perfect. Most people aren't going to perform best in that situation. If any of these ideas resonate, you're going to get some value from this session. Equally, it was created for an individual. They had a yearly kind of objectives they were sharing with their team. There's certain things that would have been relevant for them that don't really apply to you. So just disregard any suggestions that aren't quite right. And if you do like the idea of a personal one-to-one session with me, have a look in the description. You'll see things like prices and packages, but also a free consultation call that you can schedule if you desire to do that. For now though, find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be distracted or disturbed. Relax and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in that feeling of relaxation and calm. And as you exhale, consider it a release valve of any stress, any worry, any tension. Just feeling it leave your body in your outward breath. And when you breathe in, feel like you're breathing in permission to be yourself. No need to be perfect. No need to be flawless. Just permission to be you, with your experiences, your knowledge, everything that makes you, you. And if you're breathing in permission to be authentic, as you exhale, release any standards that are not meant for you, any narratives, any labels, anything that you would prefix with the word should. They're not for you. So as you exhale, just release them. And maybe you can think of a few of those shoulds. You should know more. You should have all the answers. And just consider them something that is unnecessary. And when you turn the word should into could, it turns pressure into possibility. You could have some answers. You could prepare more. But notice how light that word feels. No feeling of judgment, pressure, expectation. So release all of those shoulds in your outward breath and breathe in permission to just be who you are. As you accept that who you are has got you this far, further than most could ever dream of. And therefore, what if, as you are, is more than enough? And as you breathe in and breathe out, notice tension start to dissolve. Maybe around the forehead, the jaw, the neck or the shoulders. And the deeper you breathe, the more relaxed you feel. And the more relaxed you feel, the deeper you breathe, enabling you to drift deeper down to a place of pure relaxation. And I want you to realize how easy it is to release any emotion. All it takes is a long outward breath. So let's try it now. Just imagine breathing out 2 or 3 times as long as you normally would. Continue and elongate the outward breath as if you're fogging a mirror until there's nothing left in your lungs, and notice how easy it is to breathe in deeply, deep from the diaphragm, effortlessly. And then a second long breath out, even slower this time, allowing the shoulders to drop, the jaw to loosen, and those tiny muscles in your chest to relax and soften. And you may notice that just 2 outward breaths are enough to release old echoes of tension, old habits of holding, old reflexes of self-judgment. And here there's nothing to fix and no need to be perfect. Just allow your body to remember and connect with that feeling of being calm and composed. And as your breathing continues naturally, you may notice the difference between thinking about being calm and simply being present. Perfection lives in the future, and judgment lives in the imagination of thinking what other people may think. But when you're in the moment, mindfully present, you just exist in that moment. And you can do that with a touch of a texture, a slow breath, a sip of water, anything at all that involves your senses. And each time your attention returns to the body, your feet, your breath, your posture, what if that's the gateway to step out of any self-judgment or fear of judgment and into a state of authenticity, connected to yourself in this moment now. Because somewhere inside you realize something important. You were never meant to be perfect. You were just meant to be you. Perfection creates distance and pressure. Authenticity creates connection. And as you think of the people you lead, they don't need or want a flawless performance. They need and want you as you are. Real, present, human, grounded. And the moment you release the need to impress, your influence naturally increases. And I wonder if you could imagine seeing yourself standing in front of your team. Notice your posture, upright yet relaxed. Notice the position of your shoulders, maybe they're relaxed and open. The way you breathe, natural. You gesture when it feels right. And the smile is natural, not forced. And as you observe that version of you, notice how your voice projects clearly. Not rushed, not tight, just steady and warm. And notice how that version of you is comfortable with pauses, allowing words to take root. It's impossible to inspire without allowing words to be understood. And that understanding to shift thoughts of the future. Silence doesn't threaten you. Silence supports you. Silence signals confidence. Not something you need to think about, but just know that if you need a moment to compose yourself, understand something. It's completely okay. And notice this version of you that even if there is a flicker, an echo of tension, that version of you just quietly has 2 long outward breaths. And notice how quickly the body settles, the mind clears, and your presence deepens. Those 2 long outward breaths anchors you into the moment, not the future, not the past. A sense of presence, a quiet reset, a private stabilizer, and nobody knows but you. And I want you to imagine something surreal. Imagine a celebrity that you admire for being confident. Imagine they are doing your upcoming presentation. See how they prepare, what they do before, how relaxed they seem. And see when they begin to talk, how they hold eye contact, the gestures, the smiles, how comfortable they seem in their own skin. Notice how relaxed they are, how comfortable they are being seen. And as you observe from a distance, you connect with an idea. Confidence isn't something they try to do. It's something they allow. And by being authentic, they allow it. And I want you to imagine what it would feel like. They swap places with you and you with them. And imagine what it would feel like to have all of that confidence, relaxation, to start that presentation and see your team through their eyes and feel through their body. Notice the weight distribution in the feet, the openness in the chest, the deep breathing, the calm behind the eyes. And just feel what it's like to speak without second guessing, to pause without apology, to lead without effort. Imagine being inspiring, but through the lens of reality. I want you to get a sense that you are like your message. It doesn't need to be perfect in order for it to be valuable. And maybe something shifts now or in the very near future. I want you to get a sense that you have this capability. You have had it before. It's actually your natural state. Anxiety was the blip. The trend is that when you're fully present, authentic, and connected to a message, a meaning, you naturally communicate from a place of passion, authenticity. Inspiration becomes a side effect. And then imagine for some reason there is a full-length mirror there at the front. of that team. And as you look in the mirror, you're not in the body of that inspiring celebrity. You're in your body. I want you to get a feeling that this confidence isn't borrowed, it's yours. This authenticity isn't pretend, it's yours. And from this place, liberate yourself from the pressure of expectations, judgment, and perfection. There is no need to be perfect, to communicate clearly. There is no need to control every word, to be respected. Your message carries weight because it's genuine. I want you to imagine reliving those first few moments. Each time feels more and more comfortable, more natural, more authentic. And as you imagine connecting your message, your goals, your vision with the team, they feel your intention. They feel your clarity. They connect more with you being real than the version of you feeling that you have to live up to an imaginary standard that doesn't exist and never did. And now imagine a future where you're presenting to your team, or perhaps giving feedback to just one individual. Maybe it's a big presentation, or maybe just a weekly roundup. But see yourself calm, present, composed, authentic. And notice how that version of you seems natural, speaking from conviction rather than caution. And just notice how others respond to that version of you. Attention dialed up, trust, respect dialed up. The paradox is that when you care a little less what people think, those evaluations tend to improve anyway, because people connect with people, not perfection. And as this experience settles into you, your unconscious mind keeps what's useful. The calm, the confidence, the authenticity, and gently lets go of perfectionism, fear of judgment, and any unnecessary pressure. From now on, you don't perform leadership. You align and connect with it. And that moment you saw yourself authentic and natural, rewind it. Step into it and feel how it would feel to embody that feeling of being natural, authentic, confident, calm, and composed. You don't need permission, and you're free from the fear of judgment. If someone judges you for being you, you're okay with that. And that's what liberates you. And when your unconscious mind is connected, those resourceful feelings to the present and the future, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. So it's time to drift back now to the present, leaving any fear of judgment and perfectionism behind now. That's your past. And really connecting with what is real and what is useful. So take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, connect and calibrate into the here and the now. As I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of The Hypnotist. If you've enjoyed this episode or got some value from it, please give it a 5-star rating and review. And maybe you know someone that would also benefit from this particular episode, in which case share the episode with them so they can also get the benefit too. And if you would like to listen to this episode where it's just the hypnosis, so no intro, no outro, no explanation, just the hypnosis and completely ad-free, there will be a link in the description where you can subscribe at a very low cost and only get access to the hypnosis. So if that's of interest, please check that out. Thank you again for being a regular listener of The Hypnotist, and I'll see you again soon for more.